everyone. My name is Antajuan Scott, and I'm the head of programming at Science Gallery Detroit. Thank you to the cultural programs here at the National Academy of Sciences for inviting me for this DASER. I'm so excited to sit on a panel with such great informal learners and educators, and happy to share what we're doing in Detroit. So, as JD said, we're part of the Global Science Gallery Network and also connected to Michigan State University. So before I get into Science Gallery Detroit, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Science Gallery International and our global network. So in 2008 at Trinity College in Dublin, a new idea for engagement and science communication was formed. That was Science Gallery. They wanted to use the university as a conduit for the emerging talent that was being produced at the university, but also wanted to provide a way for that emerging talent to actually share the work that they are creating and to build a community around that work. And so that space is what we consider a collider space. And so just like that quote on our screen here, Science Gallery is dedicated to young people and believing that young people are capable of solving some of the world's greatest challenges if supported properly. So in the past 10 years, we've opened about 7 science galleries around the world. So they are all connected to universities, and those galleries are in Dublin, London, Venice, Melbourne, Bengaluru, Detroit, and most recently in Rotterdam. And that university in which Rotterdam is connected to is Erasmus MC. So we have an entity that was created called Science Gallery International, which serves as our governing body of sorts. They create the tools and the systems in which allows us to connect as a more cohesive network. With that being said, we are building the world's first university-connected organization that is connected to STEAM and STEM education. So, to Detroit and our communities. So, Detroit was chosen for all of the reasons in which you think Detroit would be. Really. There's a place, it's a place where resources are prevalent, but they do not pass through certain communities. Those communities are the underserved and marginalized, which mainly represents a lot of the folks in our great city of Detroit. And so one thing that we wanted to do is to acknowledge that and to also put purpose within the institution, all institutions, both cultural and academic, to serve as the space where people are allowed to grow and allowed to learn. So one of the things I'm happy about is being able to share space with my colleague Natasha T. Miller. She's our community engagement manager, and she's also a really excellent poet. And so one of the poems that she wrote is called I Belong Here, and I'm gonna just say a few lines from it because I think it's really indicative as to why we're doing what we're doing in Detroit. So it begins, somewhere in the projects, there's a kid working on a project to project to the world. He lives in a city that grows boys and girls into lions and tigers, a city that takes fire in the ashes, builds, rebuilds, turns abandoned houses and empty fields into things worth looking at, a place that never looks back. And so the poem goes on to talk about the various spaces in which these boys and girls belong. And I found this poem to be a call for us at Science Gallery Detroit, but also a personal call. Like, how can we serve the city, these young people? How can we give them space to grow, to learn, and to explore? The ending of that poem, it goes, somewhere there's a kid working on a project to project from a city that's rebuilding, that we are building from the ashes together so that everywhere there can be Detroit. And so another part of our community, not inside of Detroit, is our young people and mediators. Science Gallery places an emphasis on reaching 15 to 25-year-olds. There's no way to really overestimate the importance of having young people be the stewards of the conversations that we are trying to touch on. And those young people, we call them mediators. We heard about the explainers at the Exploratorium, and really they are also involved in the process of an inquiry. Not really telling you what's happening, but asking you what do you think is happening and helping you develop a framework for the processes and things that we exhibit. So over and over again in the dialogues, the mediators are able to demonstrate the connections between art science, and also engage people who may not necessarily feel as though they are in a space or belong in a space such as a science gallery or a museum or even an academic institution. So another major part of our community is the university. And we use the university as a backbone, as the space where we siphon ideas to present, a place where we take emerging researchers and academics and give them a real community, a place in the city of Detroit. Another way that we connect to our community is through season visioning sessions. And these sessions really allow us to learn what we should be presenting as Science Gallery. Before we embark on our exhibitions process, we gather people, sometimes people who often don't think that they belong in a space where they are able to share their ideas that are connected to art and science, as many people in our communities do not consider themselves artists and scientists. But it still is the best way for us to gather information to present to the public. So with that being said, I bet you're wondering, how does it work? So it works through exhibitions and programs. That's how we teach. And Science Gallery Detroit has had 2 exhibitions since last year. Our first was Hustle. Hustle explored the way that we move, live, and operate, and the systems in which we live, move, and operate. And most recently, we explored an exhibition called Depth, which connected people to the processes and other entities in which water connects to humanity. And our collaborations spawn not only the university, but within our city, local cultural organizations. So one of our longstanding collaborations is with the Museum of Contemporary Art Detroit, with the program called The Intersection. And The Intersection brings together practitioners of art and science to have conversations as a means to challenge and to embrace science and the communities that form around it. So, in conclusion, I'm here to say that I'm here to collaborate with all of you. I believe that each and every one of you have an idea in which could be presented. And I want to know how we can help. So, you can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Science Gallery Detroit. I look forward to speaking to everyone this evening. Thank you.